Fans of Canada's teams in the NHL playoffs have a lot to smile about this morning. You probably heard them in the office. They're very excited. After the Maple Leafs tied up their series with the Bruins at 1 game apiece, and the Oilers took the first game in their series with the Kings, Edmonton, Toronto, Vancouver, and Winnipeg make up a quarter of the teams that are vying for the Cup this year. That's a trophy which no Canadian team, as a reminder, has hoisted since 1993. So joining us this morning from Oakville, Ontario, to talk about all the hockey games we have to look forward to is Stephen Ellis, hockey journalist and associate editor at Daily Faceoff. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning.
Are you in a better mood this morning?
It's a lot of fun when you see the teams that are local doing as well as they are. And with 4 teams, I guess the participation's pretty good, too.
Well, let's talk about them. All 4 Canadian teams have begun their prospective playoff series. Following the results so far in the first round, how deep do you think these teams could go in the postseason?
I think, when you look at Edmonton, I think that's the team that most people are looking at that can go pretty far here. They've got Connor McDavid, Evan Bouchard, Leon Draisaitl, and they had that big win against the LA Kings. Obviously, a lot of eyes are on the Toronto Maple Leafs, whether or not they could finally slay those demons against the Boston Bruins. So far, so good. They have outplayed Boston statistically. They just haven't. They didn't win that first game, but they looked much better yesterday. Winnipeg is one of the top teams in the West, and Vancouver has been near the top all year long. So this is probably the best chance in quite a long time for a Canadian team to realistically go for the Stanley Cup.
Oh, we like that. And optimism is high. Listen, which star players from Canadian teams are you watching for in these first rounds?
Obviously, Austin Matthews on Toronto. Mitch Marner, you got to hope that he can kind of pick it up here. It's been a slow start for him. When it comes to Edmonton, you've got Connor McDavid, Leon Draisaitl, Evan Bouchard, Zach Hyman, the former Leaf that just scored the hat trick last night. Vancouver, Thatcher Demko, Quinn Hughes, Elias Pettersson, a great young core with so much potential. And then in Winnipeg, Connor Hellebuck's been the best goalie this year. If he can continue to be that against Colorado, that is having goalie issues, I think that could kind of say a lot. So a ton of talent, probably the deepest Canadian group that we've seen in a long time.
Those are the teams. Let's talk about the cities that are hosting these games. 4 Canadian cities are going to host at least some of the games. How big of a boost is this for local businesses in the playoff season?
It's huge, living outside of Toronto, you see how big of a deal it is outside the rink with all the fans there. And then you go out and look at Winnipeg and Vancouver and Edmonton, and they're doing even more. And I know Vancouver in particular, this is the first time that they've played a playoff game in nearly a decade. So the fans are loving it right now. I know a lot of people that have flown out to those games to see that. Edmonton is just an unbelievable hockey city. Winnipeg, this year, it's just the stuff you see outside is just awesome. So people are showing up early to get a good viewing angle. They're spending a lot of time after, especially when they win, to celebrate. There's nothing but positives there.
Yeah, it's been really fun to watch all of the crowd shots right across the country. Hey, this is a big year for Canadian hockey. And, we've talked about economics, and we've talked about players, but you are a fan, first and foremost. So what are you most excited about in the next few weeks?
The fact that there's just a good chance that we could see a team go far. And it's like, you've got just good organizations out there, a very competitive group. But the fact is, like, you look at Montreal Canadiens made the Cup final in 2021. That was the last time we saw a Canadian team. And I think a lot of people look at that and said, they maybe fluked their way there. This year, it doesn't feel like that's going to happen if a Canadian team makes it that far. So the fact that there's just 4 legitimate Cup contenders out of the country, that's pretty rare.
Stephen Ellis, thanks so much for joining us this morning. Go get some sleep.
Thanks so much.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you liked this, be sure to subscribe here, or you can check out more Your Morning videos right here.